You ready? Karen? Okay, ready? Jason, you're on? Yes. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Independent City Council meeting. It's Tuesday, December 13th, 2022 at 6:30 in the evening. Let the record show that Councilor Roden and Councilor Job are not with us this evening, but they are both excused. They did contact the city manager and myself in advance. Council members, you have the November 8th minutes in your packet. Do they meet with your okay?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I don't see anybody for visitor comments. Moving into mayor's report. As you folks know, I've canceled the December 27th meeting and put in a special meeting for the 20th, which is next Tuesday. And we'll be doing that downstairs. We will have an executive session for a city manager review. That'll be the last scheduled meeting of this council group. So we're going to have a chance to have an oral conversation with our city manager. And my report, just to keep you informed of the things that are going on. I didn't realize why I was a little running out of energy till I started writing down all the things that have been going on the last while. I'm on the CEDS advisory group, which is the formal process through the region to help us access federal funds for the region. And we have there's a whole series of things that have to go through for trying to open the doors for some federal funding. And so I'm working on that group. Did have the opportunity to represent the city and to speak at the funeral for former Mayor Tom Ritchie recently. And his wife, Beth, really appreciated the information that was put in through the city out to the world. And really, we did a nice job there. I really want to credit staff for doing that. Had a chance to speak along with Mayor Kuntz over at the Western Oregon University tree lighting, and that's always a fun event. Yesterday, City Manager West and I did attend the Oregon Business Summit, and I've been there for a number of years. It is a who's who of business and government and nonprofit folks from around the state. There are about 800 to 1,000 folks that attend there. Also, the LOC Board of Directors, and we hired a new executive director because there was a vacancy. And so serving on that board as a past president, I got to be involved with that. I recently went up to recognize an outgoing mayor up in Dayton, a former president of the Oregon Mayors Association, Mayor Wojtowski. Wonderful, outstanding person. And it was really fun to have worked with her for so many years, and there were mayors from literally throughout the state that attended both virtually and in a small town, when you get 25 or 30 other mayors from around the state saying that somebody's done a good job, it's actually really outstanding. The local council of governments, through our legislative committee, we held a legislative gathering last week where the 43 member governments had representatives come, and all of our local representatives were there. And we had a chance to visit with them. I also had a chance to talk with Congresswoman-elect Andrea Salinas and encourage her to come visit here in our community. And she said, yes. So I've got a whole list here, excuse me. Last week, our city was invited to testify in front of the House Economic Development Committee. They wanted to hear a little bit about what we've done related to sport kind of activities, our runs and rides. They wanted to hear a little bit about what we've done and why it's important, because there's some possibility for funding for small rural communities around the state. And I was really excited to be part of, be able to testify along with City Manager West in that. And it was really nice. Representative Witt from up along the Columbia, he specifically called us out in the hearing for the great stuff that we have done in our community. They said other communities around the state are going, wow, we want to be and do the things that Independence has done. So I know that the people in the room, both at the dais and at the table there, have helped make a lot of these things happen. And it's really wonderful for others to recognize us. As you may have seen, the first trolley has got here. It drove from Wisconsin, and we picked up Representative Evans and Senator Patterson. We helped provide the funding for that from the Capitol building, and we drove from the Capitol. And we had a little stop here in Independence, and we stopped at Western Oregon University, and we stopped at the S-Curves where it's going to live over there in Monmouth. Had a band join us, and it was really a wonderful time. And I really thought the video that was produced, what everybody said is it's cute, and I got to tell you, it looks good. It's going to be a really nice addition. On the other side of what I'm doing when I'm not doing city things, I just thought you'd be interested in knowing. I have been doing a number of elected official training, both through the Oregon Mayors Association, the League of Oregon Cities has been doing training for new mayors, and then also through the Hatfield School of Government at Portland State University. I've done several new elected official boot camps, and I've been doing that for a number of years, but that's always a real joy. Last Friday night, helped with the YMCA annual holiday party and fundraising auction, which was a real nice success. And also, as you know, and I've reported many times, I continue to be a volunteer at the food bank. And I just wanted to let you know that at Thanksgiving, they had a food giveaway. Normally the food bank serves about 2,000 people a month. And then just before Thanksgiving, they had a Thanksgiving grocery giveaway distribution. They serve between 1,400 and 1,500 people out of Riverview Park. And we really appreciated the folks from City Hall, the Public Works, who provided the cones and worked with the food bank to help make that happen. But it was a day-long adventure, and it was a cold and wet, and the wind. At one point, it moved one of the tents, and Patty was holding on. She was parasailing for a while, holding on to that, and so it was great. So anyway, those are some of the things that I have going on that I just wanted to keep you informed that, not letting grass grow under my feet. And with that as an opening, may I kick it over to our city manager and let her make her report. And officially, good evening and welcome to council.
Exactly. I will do my normal welcome to all of those who are joining us on Zoom, and usually the in-person folks, but I think tonight we're a little light in person. So for those on Zoom who are new, let me summarize our process and procedures. Our mayor runs the meeting. This is one of the jobs that he was elected to do, and he does it well. Our mayor will announce the agenda item. A staff member will provide a summary of the item, the issue. The council will then ask questions of the staff. Once questions are answered, there may be some discussion and a motion will be made, and then a second to the motion. After that, there may be additional discussion or not, as determined by the council and the mayor. Then a vote of the council and on to the next agenda, and so on and so forth. What you won't see, for those of you on Zoom, is you won't see what you see on TV otherwise. This is a professional council. They have worked together, and they work together well. They are polite, they are brilliant, and they do a good job. There will be no infighting, there will be no grandstanding, and there will be no yelling. So if you are looking for that, click out now. If you're looking for the business of the city, hang on with us and watch what we do. I do want to follow up on a couple of things the mayor said. Normally I don't do that, but I want to do this. The mayor and I both serve on the board for LOC. We did put in place as a board, Patty Mulvihill, and she's extraordinary. And I hope you all get the opportunity to meet Patty and work with Patty. And I say that because on January 26th, 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. in Kaiser is the LOC Elected Essentials programming. We have reserved 4 spots, Karen. Spots. So if you want a refresher, please let Karen know. I will probably go just to make sure that they're doing it right. No, I'm kidding. Just to make sure that I am refreshed as well. I'll send it out in an email, but if you are interested, we have 4 spots. The mayor talked about when we were at the Capitol, what he didn't say is he did all of the heavy lifting. He did a fabulous job. He represented us well. We received compliments on everything that we do. That is this council, that is our mayor. And to be a part of that and to watch that, it really opened your eyes. The city is astounding, and we've been blessed with long-term counselors and a long-term mayor. So thank you. I wanted you to know what a good job he does for us. Speaking of good jobs, when we were at the leadership summit yesterday, one of the lawyers that I worked with in my prior city said, I had to see what independence was about because you left us. And he came down here and he said, it is amazing. He said, why don't more people know about it? So we're going to be making sure more people know about it. And he said, and I heard the story that there's this Olympian who decided that he was going to make changes and he made changes. And I said, yeah, it's that tall guy right over there. So the mayor's right. You have done a great job, council. And I'm proud to work with you. So with that, as you know, we made a few changes on the way we do the agenda. And each time we do a deep dive into one department. Tonight it is finance. So Gloria will be giving you a deep dive into finance and all the great things that they do.
Great, thank you. Good evening. Welcome.
So I know that most of you have a pretty good idea of what we do in the finance department, but I really kind of wanted to highlight some.
Lori, could you move the microphone down a little
Sure.
bit because you have such a
I'm not
projecting. Such a finance voice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will I be able to use this? Okay. So we're going to take a look at the finance department. Side. It's not working. Or maybe it's not.
I have extra memories as well.
Okay, we can do that. Next slide, please. The mission of the finance department is to provide excellent financial administrative services to the city and financial transparency to our community. So we see our customers as both you, our community, and as the external customers, and internally everyone that we work with, all city staff. Next. The responsibilities of the finance department, I've listed, the big items. And really the finance department is the business center of the city's operations. Next. I'd like you to meet the staff. So I have a fabulous staff in finance, and we are just a small group and we get a massive amount of work done. And I really appreciate each and every one of my staff. So we're going to begin with Niley. Niley is our accountant one and utility bill. She's the one generally that will answer the phone if you call in, and she's working at the front desk. She's our frontline customer service person. Her primary function is utility billing and cash receipting. And the utility billing encompasses a broad range of tasks, including entering newly installed meters into the utility management module of Casell, uploading water meter reads, reviewing high usage reports for possible water leaks. And then if she identifies a possible water leak, she'll send out a public works person to check the meter and recheck the read and then notify the customer that there's a possible leak, and then we go through a process of doing an adjustment if once those repairs are made. She also
make an adjustment.
Pardon me?
Make an adjustment, meaning if there's a leak and you overpaid or something.
Right. So if you had a leak,
Mhm.
we will do an adjustment. once that leak is prepared. And it's according to actually our ordinance on how we do that adjustment. We do a average, 1 year average up to that time where you had the high read and estimate the average usage. And we will adjust off a percentage of that. So she does all of this, all while greeting customers at the front desk and answering the phone. Next. Becky is our newest addition to the finance team. Her primary duties are accounts payable and accounting for grants. She has extensive experience working with Excel spreadsheets and has already helped streamline some of our processes using Excel spreadsheets and uploading and downloading from our Cassell software. This position also helps up front with cash receiving and is helping me with month-end general ledger work. Myra is our payroll clerk or payroll accountant and municipal court clerk. Myra processes payroll and serves as the municipal court clerk. She also covers for the utility billing clerk whenever she is out and is currently covering much of our accounts receivable billing and reconciliations while the accounting manager is out on leave. Myra is often my go-to person for special projects. She'll take instruction, she asks great questions and makes sure that she knows what the result I'm looking for is, and she goes with it. And she does things really quickly and accurately, which is so valuable. Next. Nikki is our accounting manager, and I think most of you are familiar with Nikki. She is one of our internally go-to persons for a lot of our different departments. She knows building permitting very well, and so she supports the building department in the permitting process quite a bit. Nikki is a new mom and out on leave, and we really miss her. Nikki oversees most of the functions in the finance department and assists me with year-end closing and preparing for the audit. She's also responsible for month-end general ledger reconciliations and closing accounts receivable. Like I said, is also the go-to person for the building department for processing and billing permits. She is our Cassell software guru and problem solver. I can ask her if somebody's having trouble. I can ask her if we are having an issue with the software. She can either go in and figure out what the problem is, or she knows who to call at Cassell and get it done fixed quickly. So you've seen me quite a few times. As the finance director, I'm responsible for cash management, debt management, budget development and control. I do many day-to-day tasks, such as the general ledger reconciliations, review and approve accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll, and fill in if we are short-staffed. I'm responsible for reviewing and updating financial policies and procedures, and as well as developing and implementing internal controls to ensure the accuracy and security of our financial assets. I have, I'm a real proponent of cross-training all my staff, and most of my staff, except for the utility billing clerk, because her responsibilities are jam-packed every day. Most of the rest of my people are cross-trained to do various tasks. So if we're missing somebody, like our work goes on and we fill holes as we need them. Safeguarding these financial assets, ensuring the accurate reporting of financial transactions, and honoring our public trust are paramount in everything we do. I thank you, City Council, for trusting me over the last 11 years and in the years to come.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I think you're the next person up anyway.
If you have questions concerning the quarterly report, I had put that in there for information only, but if you do have questions,
I just had a comment that I go through this when we receive these quarterly reports. I go through them carefully, and I'm always very aware of how much of the year has elapsed and how much we have taken in on income and expended on various expenses and obligations. And once again, I can say 25% of the year has elapsed. In a lot of cases, we've taken in 40, 50, 60% of income. And with very, very few exceptions, expenditures are all under the 25% mark. And congratulations.
thank you. And that takes the whole team that every single department is very careful with their budgets. And I am so appreciative of that. Makes my life easier.
Great, thank you. City Manager West, would you like to make a comment about 5.4.2 and what the Finance Department has achieved? The Government Finance Officers Association?
I would, except that I would like. Is extraordinary. And
That's good. I didn't know how we wanted to do this, and Gloria, I'm not going to say, I'm going to let you talk about it first, because then I want to say some things.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I hold my breath every year, waiting for our review comments to come back and to see that we were successful in receiving the award. This takes, it's a heavy lift for our department, and it's one that we really, really are proud of. We've received this award now since 2015, and that was our first time submitting for the award. We won it the first time out, which was rather unusual in itself. This year, we also submitted for a popular annual financial report review, and I have been informed in 2 weeks we should have the comments and result of that. So I'm still holding my breath.
So for those of you who are listening on whatever platform you are, this is the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And most cities don't have this, and we have now won it because of your team's efforts. Is that 7?
6 years now.
6 years in a row, and that's an outstanding achievement, and it bodes. It's good stuff for our community, and I just want to cheer for you and applause. Thank you. I appreciate that. Moving forward, Ms. Johnson, I think you have the next part to report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. Well, it's my honor to be able to present to you the election results from the November 8th general election. These are the official certified results that I received from the county, and I canvassed the votes myself. And so I have before you a resolution to accept the canvass of election votes for the measure 27-137. And resolution has been prepared for you to acknowledge the results of the election. I've also included for you the results for the mayor and council positions. And those look like they did not need a recount as we had to have in the previous year. So, and per Oregon statute, the city recorder is to provide a certificate of election to each successful candidate. And so I have those here with me, so please see me before you leave the room. The successful candidates were Mayor John McArdle, Councilor Position 1, Shannon Core, Counselor Position 2, Marilyn Morton, and Counselor Position 4, Kate Swarsler. And as I said, if the council would consider passage of the resolution number 221574, accepting the canvass of votes, then this will conclude this year's elections.
Thank you. Appreciate the report. And this is an action item, page 28. If someone would like to make the motion, please.
Yes,
move
I
to
would.
adopt
I
this.
move to adopt resolution 22-1574, a resolution accepting the canvass of election vote City of Independence, measure 27-137, November 8, 22 election.
I heard a second. Second from Counselor Takis. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I just want to make a little bit of a comment here. Obviously, I'm very pleased with this, and I think it's a clear statement by our community to the people who are serving here and to the direction that our community is. It's an affirmation that we're going the right direction, we're doing the right things, and people like it and keep going where we're going and doing good stuff. That didn't sound very eloquent, I guess, but I think the sentiment is clear. So with that, and thank you, let's go to Chief Mason. I think you have the next item, please. Good evening.
Congratulations to all. Congratulations to all the winners. Welcome to City Council. How's everyone tonight? Fred, that was for you. Lighten the mood a little bit here. Tonight, I am here to talk to you about a IGA and a ordinance to renew the IGA that forms MINET between Monmouth and Independence. This is long in coming. We have been working on this new IGA for nearly a year. It has had a lot of conversation and review by both the city managers of Monmouth and Independence, the MINET board, and the legal counsel for the cities of Independence and the cities of Monmouth and MINET. So a lot of eyes have looked at it and a lot of changes have been made to it. And I apologize for the red version, the markup version. It was pretty much completely marked up and it was just easier to read the new one, I think. In the end, I think the changes that are being proposed are really simple. It doesn't seem that way when you look at the markup version, but if you really dissect it and just look at what the new message is, I think it's pretty clear. The only real substantive changes that I think should be brought up are that it gives some clarity to the board's role, some clarity on how people get appointed to the board, and then it gives the general manager necessary authority to operate the company as it should be operated. So those were really the big goals that we had when we set out to do the update, and I think we did accomplish that. I am happy to answer questions, and Councilor Takis has been in the trenches on this one all the way along as well. So anything I don't remember, I'm sure he can help me. But yes.
Councilor Core.
I actually appreciated the red line version. Because I did make some comments when you were the acting city manager, and I saw that those were all resolved appropriately. I still have a lot of issues with transparency with MINET. And when I'm talking specifically about their agendas and their minutes for their board meetings. Rather than go into that here, because PG's not here to, to speak for himself, would you like me to just write those up and send them to you?
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
fine.
Right.
I just feel we need to have, they're putting the minutes and the agendas out there. They're under a different tab than I think they need to be under. They're not searchable. The agendas are not associated with the meeting notifications. So people can't make plans about whether or not they want to go to a meeting because they don't know what's going to be discussed. So I think in the spirit of transparency, there's still some work to be done, but it's getting a lot better.
I'll be sure to pass that along.
Thank you. There are no other questions. This is an action item, please, on page 32. We have to go through the multi-step drill. If someone would so do.
I'll move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill 2022-13, adopting a restated MINET, he's supposed to be in there, MINET intergovernmental agreement in full as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second by Morton. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed. Motion carries.
An ordinance approving an amended and restated intergovernmental agreement of the Monmouth Independence Network, MINET, between Independence and City of Monmouth, and declaring an effective.
Second motion, please.
I move to read the proposed ordinance, Council Bill number 2022-13 for the second time by title only.
Second.
Motion second by Core. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries.
An ordinance approving an amended and restated intergovernmental agreement of the Monmouth Independence Network, MINET, between Independence and the City of Monmouth, and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2022-13.
A motion?
Second.
Second by Takis. Discussion. I just want to thank all the people involved in getting this done. I know it's, as you said, it was a long time coming. Thank you for doing that.
Mhm.
Without further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries. Thank
The
you.
ordinance is passed and will be assigned to ordinance number 1604.
Okay, we're now going to go to a public hearing. This evening, we'll have a public hearing on legislative amendment 2022-06 to consider amendments to the Independence Development Code Administrative Provisions Notices. The City Council will make a final decision based on the complete record, including the testimony received at tonight's public hearing. The proceedings are recorded. This hearing will be held in accordance with the land use procedures required by the city and the state of Oregon. This is a type 4 legislative procedure. At the beginning of the public hearing, staff will identify the applicable substantive criteria from the city's comprehensive plan and or state of Oregon statewide planning goals. For anyone wishing to speak, you're asked to use the speaker card that are provided. When called upon to speak, you must be recognized by yours truly, and you must state your name and address for the public record. Before we begin, does any council or wish to declare an actual or potential conflict of interest? I see no one flagging me. So I'm now officially going to open the hearing for LA 2022-06 Development Code Administrative Provisions and Notices. Good evening, Fred.
Hello, thank you very much. It's nice to be here tonight. I'm very happy to be able to present this proposed code change to you folks. Now, this code change would change how we do notices in the city for land use applications, specifically the type 2 land use applications. As we currently conduct notice, we send notice out to people within 250 feet of a project site by mail. We publish in the newspaper, and I think that's pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken. So it's those two things. And what this would do is really try and get notice to people more effectively. So that's really what we're trying to achieve. What we would do is we would post a notice on the project site so people passing by could actually see that notice. We would also continue to send out the notice to people within 250 feet. We would put also the notice on the city website, all of those things. So, and I've listed those in the staff report. We would, and we would continue to publish in a newspaper for certain types of land use applications, but not all land use applications. Part of the inspiration for this was I would like to say this was not my idea. This did not come from staff or anything like that. It came from a citizen who came to the Historic Preservation Commission and said, you know what, I feel like the way that notices are being done right now is not the most effective way. And so the Historic Preservation Commission talked with that citizen about it. I was in the room. There was a good discussion about potential options that the city could pursue to do notice different. And we studied what other communities did. We also took a look at the Oregon Revised Statutes about exactly what is required. And so that's why the proposal is like it is. For instance, Monmouth, we looked at other cities as well. So for instance, Monmouth, they post on a project site. They don't necessarily publish in a newspaper for anything. So yeah, so those are the proposed changes. It's a relatively simple change to the code, but we do think that it's going to be a more effective way to get out notice. Are there any questions?
Questions
Yes.
for the presenter, please, Counselor Court.
Is there some reason why they didn't recommend social media?
Part of the social media consideration is we have some type 2 applications that we talked with Emmanuel, our communication manager, about it. We have certain types of type 2 applications that perhaps are not of general interest. I think of some of the historic preservation projects that we get that are like an addition to a single family home. And so how exactly to do that on social media, but that's why we didn't include social media within the draft.
Will there be a social media push to identify these changes to the community at least, so they know where to go look for the information?
Right, exactly. So there, we do see the idea that these will be on the website and that we could say, hey, feel free to check out upcoming projects on the website. So
Where on the website are they going to be placed? Have we decided yet?
we haven't decided that yet. And at this point, too, we haven't, we're going through a website update right now. And so it might live in a couple of different places. So it might be on the planning page, but it also might be sort of under general news. I defer to Emmanuel to find
Yeah.
where that's best.
Someplace easy to find.
You bet, exactly.
Additional questions, Counselor?
So I know that with the planning commission, there'd been some brief discussion regarding the size of the posting.
Yeah.
Has there been any decision made there? Are we looking at something similar to like a liquor license posting, you know, in the window of a business that we see?
We didn't make it. So we were having discussions about that. And what the planning commission elected to do is not define a size, but essentially the idea is that we're going to essentially create a set of signs. So something probably like about yay big that we can then give to a project applicant and say, put this on the site. And what I'm anticipating at least is something that's super distinctive. So when you see it, you're like, oh, that's a land use application board. A number of communities that I've worked in have had yellow. In our color palette, we have a very distinctive green. And I think if we had that distinctive green out on a project site, people would see it and be like, oh, I know what that is. That's a land use application thing. I'm gonna go over and
I guess I just wanted assurance it would be more than like an 8.5, you know, by 11.
oh yeah, no, it's
you know,
not gonna be,
tucked up
no, we
somewhere on the
wanna have
corner of a
something
road.
that's sizable. I did talk to a sign manufacturer about some of the logistics about the size of signs. And at a certain size, you need more essentially structure to the sign. So we're hoping to have it sizable, but not so big that it needs,
Something handy like a 2x2.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's hopefully a little bigger than a 2x2, but yes.
Yeah. Additional questions?
Oh, I would just also comment, don't make it look like it's a condemnation notice or stop work or, you know, so green is a nice friendly color. So that's, you know,
Yeah,
just a notice, you know.
Okay. Additional questions? All righty. I see no one in the audience here to do any public testimony. Is there anybody online that's doing public testimony, Karen? Thank you very much. So without objection, I'm going to close the record and close the hearing. Without objection, so ordered. We now have in front of us the action item that goes with this. Please.
I move to read the proposed ordinance council bill.
Excuse me.
It's on the screen.
needs to be the motion that's on your screen.
Right. Oh, this is
We have
approving
changes.
the report.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. I move to approve LA 2022 06. Proposed changes to notice requirements is recommended by the Planning Commission, and adopting findings and recommendations is contained in the staff report.
Second.
Motion second by Martin Willis. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
And opposed? Motion carries. Now we can go to the enacting legislation. If someone was on page 95,
Well, I'll finish what I started.
please do. Thank
I
you.
move to read the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2022-12 in full as the text is contained in the council packet for the first time.
Second.
Motion second by Takis. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Development Code subchapter 11 administrative provisions and declaring an effective date.
Second motion, please.
I move to read the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2022-12 for the second time by title only.
Motion
Second.
second by Martin Willis. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
And opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending Independence Development Code subchapter 11 administrative provisions and declaring an effective date.
Go ahead, Tom.
I move to adopt the proposed ordinance Council Bill 2022-12.
Motion
Second.
second by Morton. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
And opposed? Motion carries.
The bill is passed and will be assigned ordinance number 1605.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a declaration of a nuisance. Mr. Evander, this is to you.
All right. Hi again. So what this would pertain to is the building right to the north of us, our nearest north neighbor, 435 South Main Street. Basically, the question is, shall the City of Independence declare that 435 South Main Street is a nuisance and direct abatement of the property? Currently, the building hasn't been maintained for several years. In 2015, way back when, the City of Independence Municipal Court found the property owner guilty of violating a number of items of the building code, the property maintenance regulations. Of those included the roof, the foundations and structural members, exterior walls and exposed surfaces, the stairs and porches, the windows, and it found that it was a dangerous structure. At that time, she was found guilty of having a dangerous structure and was fined $1,000 for each of the violations. Very little has happened to the house since that point. And so this would allow us to essentially declare the property a nuisance and then try and start abating the property. We have sent letters to the property owner and said that potentially we would consider doing this. We sent an original letter on October 27th, informing her of this meeting, and she didn't come. We also sent one on June 1st, trying to get some sort of forward motion with the property. After that June 1st letter, I did receive one call from the property owner, and she said at that point, well, maybe I'll demolish the building. But since that point, I have not heard anything from the property owner. Given all of these items, the property is still in violation of all of those property maintenance regulations that previously existed on the building. And we do have Jeff Kennedy here, our building official, to talk about any sort of issues that exist on the building. We do have some photos that he can sort of point and explain some of the stuff that's going on with the building. Essentially, staff believe that the building at 435 South Main we believe they're injurious or detrimental to the public health. The property owner has not corrected the code violations despite being found in violation of the property maintenance regulations. That was in 2015. She didn't respond to repeated contacts from our code enforcement officer from 2015 to 2022. And with the 2 letters essentially saying we're going to start taking a different sort of approach potentially. At this point, we haven't heard from her with regards to that. So based on all of those things, we would recommend that you folks declare the property a nuisance. And then potentially abate the property. What the city attorney went through and sort of wrote a bunch of this to explain how the whole abatement process happens. It's on page 100 of your packet there. So are there any questions about that right now? And then if not, we'll get Jeff Kennedy up here just to sort of explain some of the issues that he sees with the building.
Questions for Mr. Evander at this point?
Yeah, so Fred, you mentioned that the owner was fined back in 2015 for a variety of violations. Were those fines ever paid?
You know, I'm not certain if those were paid or if it was just a lien against that was put against the property.
And I have a question also. Can abatement be accomplished through demolition, or does it have to be accomplished through upgrading?
It could occur potentially through either. If demolition is the preferred abatement process, it is a substantially more difficult process to go through. So yeah.
So I had a question, just,
Oh, yeah.
do we know approximately how many times we attempted to contact her between 2015 and this June?
Shoot, I'll look to Chief because Sue Albee, our previous code enforcement officer, was in his department, but I'll say a lot.
Like not a couple, like a dozen or something like that?
Right, exactly. And part of the issue was there was some question over who owned the building at a certain point, who exactly owned the building. But in this process, I mean, the tax statement goes to Elaine LaFond. And so that's who we've contacted as part of this. When she called the one time and told me potentially she would seek to demolish a building, she didn't indicate that anybody else owned the property. At a certain point, the question was if she transferred it somehow to her daughter, right? Isn't that another family member? So
And-
She's been paying her Polk County taxes.
Yeah, that's.
yeah, I actually don't know it.
Mr. Evander, could you take just a moment for our viewing audience and give me the 30-second review of, okay, if this is passed, then what's going to happen and what could you, yes.
Yes, sounds good. So what would happen if this is passed is staff would post a notice on the property and mail a copy of the notice to the property owner. If the owner protested that it's not a nuisance, she would come before you and you folks would review the protest at the next meeting. They would also have 5 days to abate the property themselves. If the owner did not abate the property within the 5-day deadline, then the city can abate the property. In order to abate the property, though, we need to obtain either the owner's permission to do the work, or we need to obtain an administrative warrant from a judge. If the abatement is a limited amount of abatement, that could be our city judge. If it would be something more like demolishing the building, we would need to go to circuit court to do that. After the city then abates the property, the city recorder would send the property owner notice of the city's total abatement cost, and the owner would have 30 days to pay. The owner again would have the ability to protest the amount of the abatement costs that would come to you again. And the city can collect its lien plus interest through any manner allowed by law, including foreclosure. So, and that is in the staff report for this. Basically, there's two ways to go about code enforcement. One is sort of the working through the city court and imposing fines and whatnot. That didn't achieve anything. And so the reason that we're pursuing this at this point is potentially it's a different way to go about it to actually achieve some results.
Thank you. Additional questions for Mr. Vander?
The property is vacant at this point, isn't it?
Yes.
If she didn't pay the fines, what's the likelihood she's gonna reimburse us for the abatement cost?
Is a lien, the lien process?
Yeah, it's a lien and it says that, it says here, the city can collect its lien plus interest through any manner allowed by law, including through foreclosure.
I'm going to let, thank you, Mr. Vander. Mr. Kennedy, did you like to make some brief comments because you have good technical knowledge?
My name is Jeff Kennedy. I'm the building official for the city. I've been in that position for over 21 years and been dealing with this house for at least 7. And there's a few things that went to court, and there's a couple in our municipal code, section 6, 153, dangerous structures. High loads are one where it could collapse. The actual back facing the house, back right portion actually collapsed last year. It was being held up with a ladder that finally gave way under the weight of the building, and the whole back section of the building was front porch is ready to collapse the roof structure. It's being supported by a 4x4 that's starting to punch through the front porch. Theoretically, this could be repaired or it could be demolished. Repair would be extremely extensive. So the other things, it's got some buckled and leaning walls that lean more than the depth of the member. And there's failure to collapse in a couple areas.
Do people have any questions for Mr. Kennedy?
Yeah, do you have a back of the napkin estimate of what it would actually cost to repair this to get it, acceptable?
My best guess would be somewhere around 300,000.
Okay.
Please.
I have some comments. I'm kind of looking at Councilor Morton and her idea of, what about demolishing it? It's a historical property, I believe, but it sounds like,
Right there.
yeah. It sounds like it's beyond the,
You can kind of see the back right of the building.
Yeah.
is kind of hard.
yeah. It seems like it's not economically feasible for anyone to come and buy it and try to restore it is kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm wondering if maybe we contact this woman and say, we'll demolish it for you and put a lien on your property. Then you can go and sell it and probably come out even, or, maybe a little bit ahead, rather than put 300,000 into it. We would probably lose money on it, and she would too. Just a thought. And I don't know if we're locked into how we do the abatement, or we're just talking about will we
I think we're at the point
just
of
declare a nuisance?
just declaring a nuisance. Are there any other questions for Mr. Kennedy at this point?
Does the owner live in Independence?
She lives out in Polk County.
Okay. Without objection, I think I think we've got the questions that we have, if you'll just hang in the room in case anything comes up. We need to decide what we want to do on this, and it seems like this is pretty clear. And I did, Tom, Counselor Takis, the Historic Commission did suggest that we move forward with this. Yeah.
Did they comment on demolition or repair?
Mr. Vander.
Oh, boy. So during the meeting, they did comment about demolition. How the historic preservation standards work is, you need to show before you demolish a structure that it's something like you couldn't get an economic return for a similar property, right? There's like an economic analysis that you would need to do to actually show that demolition is viable. In this case, they acknowledge that this building has been far gone for a very long time. And showing the viability of like going in and spending whatever it would take to get that back up was probably not going to produce a return of a similar single family house, right?
Okay, appreciate that. You know, I know that, and this is the discussion board, I know that we don't like to have to do this stuff, but it's had to be done before. And I think, one, it's gonna fall down, or somebody's gonna try to get in and it'll fall down. And it's bad for our community, looks yucky. That doesn't just look yucky, but is a danger. I think we need to take action. We've given all the opportunities for a reasonable person to be able to do something about that. That's my opinion. Is anybody?
And also, if someone were to try to get into shelter and it fell down, that's
We feel.
the very definite possibility for personal injury. And I have to say, after listening to Mr. Evander's report, that certainly the city has done due diligence in trying to get this handled in some other fashion. And it has not been successful.
Counselor Court?
7 years of investment
Yeah.
in this is certainly enough.
Anybody like to make a motion for action?
I move to adopt resolution 22-15-1575, a resolution declaring 435 South Main Street to be a nuisance and directing abatement.
I have a motion,
Second.
second by Core. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. And opposed. Motion carries. I want to thank staff for their work. I know a number of people were involved with this, and I really appreciate getting this taken care of and moving forward. We're going to go to council announcements. I know Councilor Core has an announcement.
I just want to, some people are aware of this, but I just want to bring it to everybody's attention. The Housing and Urban Development Agency, federal agency, directs a point-in-time count of all of our unsheltered individuals in America once a year. It is going to be the week of January 24th. Normally, the Community Action Agency does this count. They don't have the capacity to do it this year, so the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance is going to do it. We've got a committee set up. Marion County Commissioner Danielle Bethel is one co-chair and I'm the other co-chair. So I'm working just on the Polk County effort of it, but we need volunteers. We need people on the ground. We are going to rely heavily on service providers to count people and to conduct the survey, but we do need to have boots on the ground in every community in Polk County. Polk County Commissioner Jeremy Gordon is probably going to be sending out an email shortly encouraging all city councilors in Polk County to get involved in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you, Councilor. Additional announcements?
Yes.
Please.
On a much more frivolous note, the Independence Downtown Association is launching in January their Walk of Hearts fundraiser. And if you have had or want to have a lovely red and white heart, posted on the light pole downtown declaring your deep feelings for some other person or an activity or the community at large. Please contact the Downtown Association. You can find them on the website, on their website or on Facebook, and order your heart for display in February.
Thank you. Anybody else? Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.